So I'd now like to talk about the results and the conclusion sections of your paper. The results section is pretty specific, and it's really what you've been waiting to do. So the results section is based on what you have researched and learned. You are going to put your literature review in this. So you've already conducted the literature review, that is finished. That will be put into this section as your secondary research. The rest of this will be talking about your primary research. But using both of them, you are looking at the major findings of both the primary and the secondary research. And this might just be one, or might be two or three things. Perhaps it's a lack of communication, or maybe there is a disconnect between what you discovered through your secondary research and the information you obtained through your surveys or interviews. So what are your major findings from this? This is a paragraph written. Again, not very lengthy, but you have to say based on secondary and primary research, these are the major findings from that research. It should tie back to your research methods. The conclusion section is the most writing you will do for this report. And this is huge. So you're going to have to do three primary things in your conclusion section. First, you're going to say from these main points, so from the major findings from the results section, what does it mean? What do these findings say? What do these findings mean? So this means there is a lack of communication, or it might mean that the material is not being shared. This means that processes and procedures are not being followed. Whatever the case may be, whatever it is that it means, this is where you are explaining to your audience what that is. In other words, this is the section in which you are interpreting the data. But then you need to analyze the data. So the second part of this section is where you really analyze it. For example, if we are saying that based on national standards, these policies and practices should be normal expectations in an institution, whether it's a hospital or a school or whatever the case may be, yet based on your primary research, they are not happening. So you need to ask yourself, what does this really mean? Does this mean the information is simply not being shared? Does that mean there is a lack of training? What exactly, again, can you conclude from this? The third and the final piece of this section is where you write what you have learned. But you're not going to write, I have learned that. When you put it all together, what is that saying about this situation? What is this saying about the problem? Sometimes we find it really is not a problem at all. Sometimes we find that it is only a problem for certain people. But that's what it is you really need to do there. I have to point out now that through the both results and conclusion sections, these will help you form your recommendations. When we get to that point, when we are writing recommendations, you will be reminded that no recommendation can be made if it cannot be tied back to one of your conclusions. So these prompts here use the following headings to develop sections where you respond. Those will help you to develop those conclusions. These are all prompts to get you to be thinking about that. Report on the truth. If the truth of what you learned is not comfortable, if the truth of what you learned is that everybody is doing a great job and we need to continue doing that, that's okay. You were asked or commissioned to do this recommendation report. You were asked to do this research and look into this, what it appeared to be a problem. So you can only present on what it is that your research has produced. But I really do believe that these prompts, if you follow these, you will develop a robust and thorough conclusion section. Again, I posted a sample so that you can see the level of development and the length of each section, things of that nature. But all of the work you have done to date should help you create these 2 sections. This is really the meat of the report. Once you've done this part, it really is just a matter of putting it all together and submitting the rough draft. As always, if you have any questions, just email me and I'll do my best to get back to you in a timely manner.